Welcome to Widowed Too Soon, where real-life widows and widowers come together to share their stories of survival, faith, and the journey of finding hope in the darkest of times. Whether you're newly widowed or have been on this journey for some time, each week we're here to provide you with inspiration, practical advice, and the reassurance that you are not alone. You were made to not only survive, but thrive. And now here's your host, a woman who has walked this path herself, who finds solace in writing, joy in speaking, and freedom in dancing like nobody's watching. Michelle Bader Ebersole.
Welcome to Widowed Too Soon. This is Michelle Bader Ebersole. I'm so excited because I'm sitting here with another guest who I know just a little bit, but I'm super excited to get to know along with you guys. I'm not going to do a bunch about me right now because you just got to hear that last week. So I'm going to dive right into this episode. So I am sitting with Andrea Lemon. Is that correct? Did I say it right? Okay, it is Lemon.
Yes.
Okay. And we met through Facebook, but I believe you were a podcast listener. Can you tell me like how you found the podcast and all that stuff?
My neighbor is a psychologist at the federal prison where my son is a psychologist, and she wanted help with cleaning her house because she doesn't clean. And I'm not really a cleaner that does, I don't go around and clean people's homes, but I'm like, sure, I'll be glad to help you. So it's a lot of work and it takes 3 hours. And so I started searching and I put in widows and I thought something good is going to come out of this. I'll find something. And your podcast came up, and now like
Yay.
every time I clean every Wednesday, that's what I do. So
that's so
I listen
cool.
to Widowed Too Soon. Yeah.
I love that. It's so fun. Like what's crazy is like this was started 4 years ago. And like now just like all the people were reaching everywhere. Like it still blows me away when people are like, I know you from the podcast. Okay, that's not happened a lot of times. I can think of a couple times that's happened. Like I ran into somebody who knew me from the podcast, usually like a widow event, but
Yeah.
it's still pretty cool. And so I don't even remember exactly. Can you remind me where you live?
I live in Somerset, Kentucky.
Okay. What is that near? Like, what are some big cities?
I'm an hour and a half from Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
And we live near a really large lake called Lake Cumberland, and I'm about a mile from Lake Cumberland.
Okay, awesome. Have you lived out there your whole life?
Gosh, no. We were living in Ashland, Kentucky for 18 years, where he was doing a prison. My husband worked at the federal prison there.
Wow.
And then he wanted to top out his pay grade before he retired. So that moved us to Somerset for him to work at the USP McCreary Federal Penitentiary. So he was the chief psychologist there. We moved here to Somerset in 2011, I think.
Okay, but always Tennessee. I'm sorry, Kentucky, whatever state we're talking. Kentucky.
Yes, like yes, but I was born and raised in West Virginia.
Okay.
Met my husband at Marshall University in West Virginia.
Okay. Okay. Which leads me to my next question. So tell me about your husband and how you met and like your dating life and all that stuff. I love hearing.
Okay. Yeah, those are always so fun. Doug and I met at Marshall University, and I was walking to class that fall in '88, and we were going to Smith Hall, and the class was interpersonal communication class. And I didn't know anything about him. There's a lower level and a higher level walking to the class, and I was kind of up on the higher level walking. He was low, and he saw me walking past him, and we ended up going down into the same building to the same class. But when he saw me, he later that day called his best friend. He said, "Hey, I saw the girl I'm going to marry today up on this sidewalk going to class." And he said, "I sat by her in class." He said, "I'll let you know how it goes." And then he kept sitting by me, and I finally looked at him and said, you keep sitting by me and I keep moving. And is there something I can help you with? And he said, I just want to go on a date with you.
Oh,
And I said,
wow.
well, I said, I don't know about a date. And I said, maybe, maybe something another time. And he
Oh,
kept,
wow.
I really put him off. And then he said finally at the next class, hey, can we study together? And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, we can study for a test together. But I didn't know that it made no sense whatsoever that he wanted to study together because he was very like straight A student,
Yeah.
he didn't need someone to study with him. He had arrived when it came to academics.
Right.
And so I said, okay, well, we can do that. So he was just so studious and academic and so kind of almost nerdish.
Mm-hmm.
Like I fell for the athletes all the time.
Right.
And he didn't seem, but he was, I don't know, he was a nice, like tall, lean guy. He just never he was just so kind of book smart that it almost was intimidating. So we ended up just, studying together, had a great time. And the way he carried himself and interacted with me, I fell in love with him pretty fast.
Yeah, I can see it on your face.
I would,
like a little schoolgirl. Like you're so excited talking about it. It's so cute. That's so cute.
it's funny. It's like I wouldn't have picked him for anything.
Right.
He nowadays, what would kids say? Our kids would probably say they're it's not stalking. They'd be like, what's the word they use?
Not sure.
Haley will say it sometimes. Anyway, I can't think of the word. So I know that it was just a God thing because when I wanted to take that class, it was closed
Mm.
and there was no openings. And I went, how the registrar's office, the bursar's window, when you go to pay for class, you're there
Yeah.
at the window.
Yeah.
And you're not, doing this on your computer, choosing classes. You're paying at the window and picking
Right.
classes at the window.
Back in the day. Yep.
And yeah, and I registered for this class late because I realized I wanted interpersonal communication class, but they said it was closed. Well, the guy in front of me had just dropped the class. And I said, did you just drop interpersonal communication class? He said, sure did. And I went to the window. I said, if he just dropped that class, can I get in? And
Wow.
he said, yes, I have one spot for you. And then the first day of class is when I met Doug. So
Wow, that was meant to be. That's so sweet. So tell me about like dating and getting engaged and all that.
we dated starting that fall. He was so good to me. I didn't even know I wasn't used to somebody treating me so well. I broke up with him.
Oh, right?
Like
Get it.
a week before Christmas, I broke up with him. And I don't know why I did. I think I just thought this guy is just he's just too good to be true. And I don't really know if he's for me. And so, gosh, after Christmas, and it just started to settle into my heart that I made a huge mistake.
Mm.
And he had already read this book, and it was about how to get over someone.
Oh.
I can't remember the name of it. He did the book. He read the whole book, how to get over someone. And he said he was so crushed that he had to work really hard at getting me out of his system. And so we have a copy of that book because we gave it to one of the kids when they were
funny.
heartbroken. And it worked. So well that when I called him, he actually answered the phone. He was at his mother's for Christmas break. And it was the day after my birthday. It was January 3rd and 1989. And I said, I would like to talk. Can we talk? And I said, I think I'd like to see you again. And I'm so sorry. And he was eating an apple in my ear on the phone.
Oh my gosh.
Because he was so over me.
Right.
And I said, if it matters, I'll drive there. So this was in Huntington. He was in Parkersburg. And he said, yeah, you go ahead and drive here. I'll meet you.
Mm.
And so I drove there. I don't think he thought I would drive there. So I had stayed back at school during Christmas break because I was working at Foot Locker during college. And that's how I kind of made money on the side. So
Mm-hmm.
I took that day off, drove to Parkersburg. He took me to a Chinese restaurant, and then I wore a really great dress. And I think it worked. So we got back together, and I literally had to beg. I mean, beg. I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I mean, I've never begged for somebody.
You're right.
Men, you know, I
Yeah.
break up with guys, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
break up with me. So, but for me to go back and have to beg him, that was a new role for me. So, I was like, I know that I made a mistake, and please take me back. And so we started dating, and February 2nd, that was January, February 2nd, it was a beautiful day. For some reason, it was warm. And we went to Ritter Park where it's like a rose garden.
Mm.
And we hung out that day. It warmed up like to 75 degrees that day, which is so odd for February in
Yeah.
West Virginia. Yeah. And so we, I don't know, we talked like one of those deep, long talks about life and God and all of your things that really matter and count.
Yeah.
Like we we just kind of bared our souls to each other that day. And I knew on that day that he was the one. I knew for sure. I'm like, he's absolutely, I can see this person being the father of my kids. I mean, I was just already jumping that far ahead.
Aw.
And we got real serious. And then we dated all up until like, it was August the 4th, 1989. So we're within the same year. He
Wow.
proposed to me in August, and he just started his doctoral program at Wright State University in Ohio because he graduated from Marshall that spring, and he was headed to Wright State. He proposed to me August the 4th,
Aw.
and we literally got married December 16th,
Wow.
1989. And it
Wow.
had to be a Christmas wedding because the doctoral program did not give summers off. And we didn't,
Wow.
you get a Christmas break, but you didn't get time to have your summer, off. So we couldn't have a summer wedding. So
Yeah. Oh, wow.
we got married, and I moved up to Wright State University with him. I finished my bachelor's degree. He got his doctorate degree, and
that's sweet. It was all within 1 year, really.
it's all yeah. I had some friends say, "Are you sure you're not expecting?" I'm like, I'm not expecting.
Right. Oh, that's a sweet story. So tell me what life was like as you guys started a family and all of that.
I don't, we just, we were always so happy together. We love nature. We love going on walks together. That was one of our absolute favorite things. The day after he got, no, it was the day after he got his doctorate degree. He said, we can try for children, try to have kids. And I was so excited. It had been a little over 4 years since I'd been begging. And he's like, I can't have kids when we're in doctorate school. And when he said that, it was 2 weeks later that I got pregnant.
Oh, awesome.
So that was pretty cool. So then Michael came along, which was our first one. And we ended up having 4 children, and they were kind of spaced funny. The first 2 are 2 years apart. There's 3 years between the 2 sets. And then Haley was number 3. Christian, it was Michael, Christian, Haley, and then Clark is the youngest
Nice.
one.
And I have to pause for a second because we discover we both have a Haley spelled the same way.
I know it.
We never find Hayley anywhere. So it's like this thing, whenever we go somewhere, she's like, let's see if we can find my name. We found it twice. Actually,
oh, wow.
yes.
Yeah.
So she has a little license plate, like a little Oregon, like bike license plate. Actually,
Yes.
Luke found it for her the first time we were at the beach, and he got it for her, but she had lost it. So when we were there like last year, I think we bought another one that she just has up on her wall. And then she also at the same beach, this is Seaside, Oregon, she found a locket that says Haley the correct way. We
You
say the
are
correct way.
kidding.
Now,
Even a locket.
okay, if we ever find it, I'm gonna get it and send it to you so you can give it to
I
your
know.
daughter because
And
you
so
never
Luke
see
was
that.
the one that bought it for her, her daddy.
Yes. So that's right. That was really, really special. So that's the only city we've ever found anything with it spelled the right way, as she says.
Ah,
Like we went to Hollywood. I took her there for her birthday this year, and like every store has all the name things, and that was the first thing she would do.
I know.
Look everywhere, and she could never find it. And she's like, "Look, it's spelled the wrong way."
It always is. Now there's
Haley.
so many.
And yeah,
Yeah,
there's so many ways to spell it, but
so many ways. Yeah.
Hayley. So the reason we did that is because we already had Hayden, which is Hay, and so we kind of went with the theme.
Oh,
I had only
yeah.
known of Haley Mills, that did like Parent
Haley
Trap and
Mills is
all, yeah,
widely
all the.
named Haley. Yeah.
Okay, well, I
It was
just knew
after
of
the
her.
actress. Yes.
Yeah, and then yeah, and then we did our next one. Peyton had the AY theme as well, so that's kind of why
I
we did
love that.
they all have AY. But anyways, we can get back to your story. Just to say that,
No,
like
I
I
love
was
that.
so
I think I
excited
haven't
because
met anybody else either. So
I know every person they spell it different.
it's
So it's
right.
nice to
Yeah.
meet someone who spells it the right way, as we say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so you had 4 kids, and were you home with them? Like, what was life like?
Oh, so I was a stay-at-home mom. We
Okay.
had made that agreement early on, and
Hmm.
even though I had a degree, he wanted me to have it to kind of fall back on if I needed it. I literally I hate to say this out loud. I went to college on a scholarship for running and cross country and
Oh,
track. I had a scholarship, but I went to college to find a husband.
right.
I was that
There are people that
girl.
do that. Yeah.
And he said, no, you're going to finish and you will get, you will get good grades. And I said, okay. And I did. I mean, it wasn't that I got bad grades. It's just that I wasn't a serious student,
Right.
not real serious. And so he taught me how to be serious about, um, you know, about school and taught me how to study better. So I ended up graduating with Dean's List, and I had
Cool.
high honors, and I had my honor cords around my neck at graduation. So I did really well, and I was glad to have that under my belt and made me feel better about myself. I mean, as a human, you just kind of,
Yeah.
you got that education. It just makes you feel good. And so I was really grateful that he stood by me and supported me. And then he said, I just think it'd be better if the kids had the mom stay at home. And I said, absolutely. And I was totally wanting to do that.
Yeah.
So I was always there when they got home from school. I picked them up from school sometimes, sent them out the door with their lunches, all 4 of them. And I just was the stay-at-home mom, and it was the hardest job that you could ever have with
Yeah.
4 kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I
And
loved it. I loved every minute
yes.
of it.
And how
Yeah.
old are your kids now?
So Michael is 31. And he's now a staff psychologist at the same prison that Doug was at,
Wow.
which Doug
It's
didn't
really
never get to
cool.
see that.
Yeah.
And so Michael's 31. Christian is 29, and he has a degree in criminal justice, and he works at the same prison.
Wow.
It's
Very
kind of
cool.
scary having 2 kids work at a federal penitentiary.
Right.
And because the dudes that are behind the bars there, they've killed people to be there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then Haley is turning 26 on Friday.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, she's pretty cute. And she's got a degree in psychology, and she's a case
Oh,
manager for a local mental health facility that's funded through the state. And she does a great job. She's one of the hardest workers I know, and she loves that job. Clark he just turned 24, and he graduated from the University of Louisville a month ago with
oh, cool.
his master's degree in civil engineering And he's my he's my travel buddy, because we
Oh, I
just
love
got
that.
back well, we were in California for 8 days, and then we were in Spain
Oh,
and
exciting.
Portugal for 17 days. We saw 13 cities and we walked
Wow.
148 miles.
That's amazing. I love
We were on
that.
trains, planes, and automobiles, and we tried every food that there ever was. I ate as much food as I ever wanted and didn't gain a pound. I think I might have
You're so
lost weight.
busy. Yeah, you're walking so much, all of that. That's awesome. Well, sounds like you
And
have some amazing kids.
yeah, he's still there. He's walking the Camino along the coast of Spain until October. It's a 500-mile spiritual journey that he's walking.
Wow. That's
So,
awesome.
and then he's going to have to get back to real life and
Real
do
life.
some
Yeah.
adulting.
Yes. Well, that's amazing. So tell us a little bit about like when life changed for you guys.
Yeah, it was crazy. We, you know, you kind of just take life for granted and everything's going really smooth. Um, I feel as though we were just a happy family, happy couple. You know, we just we serve Jesus. We go to church all the time. We're raising our kids in church, and we always had a close walk with God. But when you come in face to face with something like we did, your relationship with Jesus changes drastically, and it gets
Mm-hmm.
better,
Mm-hmm.
actually. But let's see, it would have been July 23rd, 2016. We had gone to a Cincinnati Reds game, and it was me and Michael and Doug, and we had those nosebleed seats. So we were running up the steps, and Doug was way behind Michael and I looked back and I said, that's not him. He doesn't usually struggle. And I said, Michael, hold up. Dad's having a little hard time getting to catch up with us. And so when he got up to the steps, I said, are you okay? And he said, for some reason, he said, I'm having pain shoot down both my legs and I can't catch my breath.
Mm.
And he says, it's a little hard struggle than I thought it would be, climbing the steps. So Michael and I slowed down with him, and we walked up the rest of the way, and it was just kind of puzzling for us that he
Yeah.
struggled. It was puzzling for him. He boiled it down to, I think I have some allergy problems. It could be asthma and all this. Well, he didn't have a history of asthma. He had allergy problems. So then that was a Saturday. So Monday morning, we went right away to see his doctor, and his doctor was going to do an x-ray of his lungs, and the x-ray machine was down. He said, well, I'm going to have you finish this at the hospital. We're going to have to go to get an x-ray at the hospital. So we had to go through the emergency room and have an x-ray done. And 7 hours later in the
Whoa.
emergency room,
Yeah.
the doctor came in and pulled up a stool beside Doug. And at that point, the doctor was no longer communicating with me. He was zeroing in on Doug. And he sat down beside him, and he just had a real caring, face, but very straightforward, said, I found a large mass in your right lung, and
Mm.
I'm quite confident it's cancer. And I just felt like somebody hit me in the gut.
Yep.
I felt my head getting hot. You just feel like
Yes. Yeah.
this rush of
Yep.
adrenaline comes straight through you. My son Michael was there, and we both looked at each other, and you could just feel the seriousness of the moment. And we were sick. We were sick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was crazy. In fact, I even thought nothing is going to be the same in my life from this moment on.
Right.
And it was true. It was absolutely the truth. And then we went and had further testing, found out that the cancer had reached the lung already in about 5 places, had metastasized to different bones in his body. And, we tried everything. We tried Tagrisso. I mean, every cancer drug,
What kind
we
of
started
cancer
out.
was it?
What was it now?
What kind of cancer?
It was non-small cell
Mm.
adenocarcinoma.
Mm.
And we got treated at Cancer Treatment Centers of America. And we went and traveled back and forth at Noonan, Georgia. He had a surgery that was kind of experimental in 2017 to remove the cancer in the right side of his right lung, the lower lobe of his right lung. And that was at Kennesaw Hospital. It was an 8-hour surgery. They opened up his back. They cut open his back right through his ribs. As crazy. And they hyperextended his back to run a warm chemo treatment through his lung after they removed the cancer. And that literally bought him about 17 months of NED, no evidence of disease. And then the doctor, she said, you're looking really good. Let's see you again in 4 months. But we were doing every 2 months. And I didn't like that idea of 4 months.
Right.
But we settled for it. And in that amount of time that he was well, in that 17 months that he was well, he was in a hurry to write a book. And at the beginning of the cancer journey, he said, in my dream last night, he said, God told me to write a book and I know the name of it. He even gave me the name of the book in my dream. And I'm like, you're kidding. So he wrote this down about 2 weeks into his cancer journey.
Okay.
And he said, yeah, the name of the book's going to be Beautiful Catastrophe. And I said, the only problem with that, Doug, is that catastrophe means it ends poorly. I said, it might be beautiful because you can see the hand of God, but it ends poorly. And he said, no, this is the name, and I'm going to go with it. And I said, okay. So he quickly wrote the book and got it published in May. Came out in March, Amazon, March of 2019. We were scheduled for a brain scan and a PET scan in May of 2019. When they did the brain scan, they found 15 splatters of cancer that had showed up in his brain. We stayed in Georgia that whole summer, every day that summer. We had no summer. We were in that hospital having him, take radiation on for the brain. It didn't do anything. It spurred on the cancer. In fact, it traveled down his spine and it fractured every vertebrae down to his tailbone.
Wow.
And he passed away on September 4th of 2019, and it was just a few days into my youngest son's senior year of high school, and it was right after his birthday. So when it came back, it went really fast.
Yeah. Were you able to be with him when he passed away? What was that like?
Absolutely. It was beautiful. I know I tell this story, and if my kids are around, they will sit there and say, there was nothing beautiful about it, Mom. I prayed a lot about how God was going to take him. And somehow I got peace, although I was terrified. I mean, I was terrified.
Me too.
We were in the hospital at Vanderbilt because when we came home, we quit getting treatment from CTCA, the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, because they said his platelet was too low to keep getting treatment. But when we went to Vanderbilt and tried that, a different doctor, he said, we will absolutely try everything we can. Let's try chemo. So the week that we went in to see him, though Doug was feeling awful, he said, we're going to go ahead and try chemo next week. You go home for the weekend. I'll see you on Monday. We went home for the weekend. Doug's breathing got really bad. The night that the guy from home health came, and that was the first time anybody had tried to help us with oxygen at home.
Yeah.
And he had done really well without having oxygen. And the guy left and the tank was there and everything was just set up. And I went in to see him and I said, and I'd been with him a lot, but I left the room for a little bit, came back. I said, Doug, what's your pain level? And he said, I mean, it'd always been like a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't feel pain.
Mm.
And his breathing changed. And I called Michael in there and the kids, I'm like, he's either had a stroke or because he's reporting that he feels no pain, that it's that part of his brain is taken over by the cancer and it's not communicating with him that he's in pain, because just laying on your spine with that much cancer, fracturing your vertebrae, you're in a lot of pain. It's an excruciating pain. So he didn't look well and he seemed, just different. So I put him in the car. I drove him to the hospital here in Somerset. And from there, he was flown to Vanderbilt. And the doctor that was going to start chemo on him, Dr. Imes, took him in, saw him that night, met him at the hospital. Within a few days, he went downhill really fast. He went into a coma. And we were in the palliative care unit in Vanderbilt for about 36 hours. And we all got to be with him. So in the room was me and my 4 kids and my mother-in-law and my best friend from our wedding and his best friend from our wedding. So we all got to be with him when he passed away. And I think it was so hard, but I still think it was beautiful because I got to be with him and talk to him and hold his hand. And my best friend she's an occupational therapist, so his body had to be turned a few times, several times, I guess, throughout the process of dying because, the blood will run to one side of your body and it just, the way the dying process works, it's best to keep moving the patient. And so she would always help the nurses and move him, and she'd know when to kind of watch for certain things. And that's what we did. I don't know. I treasure that I got to be with him when he died. I think that I continued to talk to him because I believed he could probably hear me. So I just was like going to continue just believing that and not give up on talking to him. At one point, it felt like his breathing changed drastically. And then it also seemed like that it was near and he kept hanging on. In fact, I almost felt like at one point his spirit left his body before his body actually gave out and died. But I finally got up over top of his body and I got right down in his face and I kissed him and I said, honey, you can go. Because I know you need to go. And I said, we can't help you anymore. And I said, Jesus can, and you're going to be okay. But I give you permission to go. And it was within it was just like within minutes. So that was pretty crazy, but it was good. It was all good. I remember standing up after he died and I looked back at him and I thought, that's just his body.
Right.
I mean, I saw his body, but I didn't see him
Right. It's
anymore. And the nurse said, would you like to stay while we, undress him and stuff? And I said, no, because he's not there.
right.
I mean, I knew full well he wasn't. So, it was hard. because I stood up and I looked back at him and I thought, I'm still breathing. I'm still breathing. Why am I still breathing?
Right. It's
I mean, he's gone, and I thought, I'll never breathe
right.
if he's not breathing. Um, he's my best friend, and I just thought, there's no way, there's no way that I'm still breathing. And my best friend walked me out, and the kids, we walked out. We just started planning a funeral, and that was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy because I think we had held out for a while that he wasn't going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Just denial kind of works,
Yep.
And then you're like, he's never going to die. That's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
And we had such strong faith in Christ, and we knew God was in control,
Yep.
which he was. We didn't know that his way of healing him was to take him.
Mm-hmm.
And so Doug is now, he's healed.
Mm-hmm.
And I praise Jesus I know that he's good.
Yeah. I can relate, and I'm sure.
What more do you want for him to be healed
Yes.
and good?
Yeah.
And I knew I couldn't do anything anymore. So it was crazy hard.
Yeah.
I think hard, when you watch your spouse die, and the hard part is losing them, but then you watch there are other layers of pain when you watch your kids grieve.
Oh, yeah. It's the worst.
I mean, did you feel that way?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, first of all, I relate, and I'm sure a lot of listeners do. And I know not everyone was able to be with their spouse when they passed away, so I can just speak
Oh,
from
yeah.
my personal experience that yes, it was the strangest thing seeing him after he died, like just looking at him, he's not there. Like something instantly changes, and it's just a shell of the
So
body.
you had that same feeling.
Yes. Like very strange. Like you can't explain it. He's there, even though, so for Luke's last hour, he was like, his eyes were just staring, and he was breathing, but he couldn't talk or anything. But like he was there. We still knew he was there, and we were talking to him. And then like when they came in and they said that he didn't, the hospice nurse came in and said he's gone. And then it was just like, it was so weird, like just looking at him like that he's gone. So I understand that feeling of like, whoa, he's really not here,
He's really
and
gone.
then, yes, for me personally, watching my kids grieve both right then and as we've gone over the years with the big milestones. I think that's the hardest, heaviest part of grief, I think, as a
Isn't it?
parent. Yeah, because you're watching like the people you love most in the world, the ones like you gave birth to, watching them suffer. And like it brings tears to my eyes. Like that's where I have the most grief still. I don't have a lot of like as much personal grief, but I have a lot of grief for my kids, as I'm watching them. And your kids were similar ages. As I'm watching them now, my kids were 12, 14, and 15 when their dad died. And now watching them 5 years later enter adulthood and wishing they could talk to their dad as an adult. And it's, high school graduations, college, when they got their licenses, and I know there's going to be weddings. It's just like all the big moments are so hard because your heart hurts for them. Like, and then I feel like in the beginning of my grief, when it was really heavy for me, it's like you've got two big things. You're carrying your own grief for your husband that died, and then you're carrying the grief of your kid's father that died. And it's just like so heavy. Like I almost forget until I come back to conversations like this, like how heavy it used to feel. And I like to encourage, those who are listening, who are newly widowed, it's not going to feel as horrible as it does at this moment if you're new. I promise. Like I felt like that too. Like, how can I breathe? How can I do anything? Like and I was scared too, like knowing his death was coming. It was, anticipatory grief, where it's like you're standing on a train track and the train's going to hit you and you're just waiting. And, we did that for years. And then it's like it hits you and I was so scared of what the actual death would be like. So scared. And like always, I didn't sleep for years because I didn't want him to die while I was sleeping, just like all the things. And then it's just like such a scary thing. But then it's like nothing seems hard after that. You're like, Nothing in life is hard. If you've watched your
I
spouse die,
know.
nothing's hard. Like,
I don't even feel afraid sometimes. Maybe I should, but like when I came back from Spain just now, I'm like, what's the worst thing that can happen?
exactly. It's already
I
happened.
mean, I've already been through the worst thing, and I don't think much else bad can go from here. And
Right.
I'm tough. I know I'm tough,
Yes.
and I can do this. I can do hard things. And so,
So
absolutely.
tell us what life was like in the beginning when you were newly widowed. Were there people supporting you? How was it? Like just
I had
life.
a lot of support. My best friend stayed for a while,
Good.
and she lives far away, so that was good. I had friends from high school that came and took turns staying with me.
Mm-hmm.
And when they all left, I thought I was going to suffocate because Clark went to school and he's starting his senior year. He didn't miss any school because he didn't. I think he felt happier around his
Yep.
friends, and he didn't want to sulk at home. And I get that. And then the other three were off to college,
Mm.
so I was very alone
Yeah,
from
that's
a house
hard.
of a husband and four kids, and then
That's a
very
lot.
alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of screaming in the closet. I
Yep.
quit eating. I
Mhm.
probably went from 136 pounds down to 108,
Oh my
110
goodness.
maybe. Um, a friend of mine who's a nurse said, you have got to go. You're athletic, you like to lift weights, and you worked
Yeah.
out with your husband. And I said, yeah, I probably should do something. And she said, well, my sister's a personal trainer, so you really should, go meet her. And she's a Christian, and she could, work out with you. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like a good plan. So I started working out 3 days a week, which is a lot really at first.
Yeah.
um, and then I got really strong, and I was using a lot of dumbbells and weights, and
Mm-hmm.
just learning the gym, like all
Yep.
kinds of equipment, I mean, stuff that you were kind of afraid of before.
Yep.
And she walked me through all of it. I'd walk into every single session crying, and she'd say,
Mm.
and I'd say, can we pray? And she said, no. She said, we're going to work out really hard first, and then your reward will be that we'll pray. And
Cute.
I said, okay.
That's funny.
And so we did that. And each time we prayed afterwards, and I looked forward to it so much. And then she said, you've gotten really strong. I think you could be a personal trainer. And I said, oh, come
Oh.
on. I said, I can't. I said, I can't do that. And she said, oh, yeah, you really could do this. And I said, wow, I really should think about it. And then she helped me get signed up for classes
Oh,
and
cool.
through ISSA, and
Mm-hmm.
I became a certified personal trainer, and I learned to do classes and one-on-one
Wow.
personal training. I got certified and licensed, and I got my liability insurance, and um, I now have 7 certifications.
Wow, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, and I love it. And I work at an all-female gym downtown in
Fun.
Somerset, and get to work with women, which is perfect. And
Yeah. That's
I don't have a
amazing.
huge load. I have like a pretty good number, but not too overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then I volunteer at the hospital once a week in the surgery center. And
Wow.
that's one of my favorite things to do. I really love it.
What do
So
you do in the surgery center? Like, I've never heard
we
of that.
take patients' names, and we
Okay.
get them ready for like where they're supposed to be for their surgery. And
Okay.
we help the family kind of, be able to track their
Yeah.
information and
Uh-huh.
there's, how that goes on the
Yes.
screen. And we take them back for surgery, and then we take the family back to sit with them, and just all the things. And we, have to interact with the doctors when they come in and want to kind of give an update to the families. And I just love it. I work with a widow named Debbie, and she's a new widow, and she's older than me, maybe by like 11 years or something. She lost her husband last year. She's so brave to get out into the world this early into the game. And I love working with her. It's just crazy the heart I have now that God has put in my heart to work with widows, be with widows,
Mm-hmm.
talk to widows. Um, encourage widows, pray for widows. I have a book that I write names in, and
I
it's
love
starting to
it.
get, sadly,
Well,
it's
yeah.
starting to get full.
Yeah.
Um,
There's,
I've been
um,
taking names down for 6 years now, and by the way, yesterday was 6 years the day we buried him.
mm, that's
And
always
then the
hard.
fourth was the day he passed. So the seventh
Oh,
was
it's, yeah.
the service, the funeral service.
Mm,
So I went to his grave yesterday and I put rose petals on his grave.
mm,
I do that all the time when it's a thing. I just kind of, or just to go.
yeah,
It's my, I like it. I don't
me
know.
too.
I'm kind of weird. Yeah, it's kind of,
No,
it gives me peace.
yeah,
So,
I just went for my would-be anniversary. It would have been
oh
22
yes.
years. So I went. So I still go, even though I'm remarried, it doesn't mean I don't still have grief for Luke.
No,
And
yeah.
I go also on the anniversary of his death. I usually go, and sometimes Haley will go on Father's Day. The boys don't like to
Yeah.
go, and that's okay. Like everybody
My boys
needs.
don't like to go.
Isn't that
Haley likes to
interesting?
go.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's just me and Haley that go. And once she got her license, she wanted to go by herself. So she
Bless her.
she goes there sometimes.
Oh, it's her daddy.
Yes, yeah. So, no one else from my family, not his family, nobody's gone except for me and Haley.
Yeah.
Since the day we did his burial. But some people just don't like to, and that's okay. But I
I
don't
think
know.
that's what it
Like
is.
I know that he's not there. I know he's in heaven, but it's a part of my healing. And so, I mean, I started the first year, I went every single month on the 23rd because he died on the 23rd. So I went
Oh,
every single
wow.
month for a
That's,
whole year.
yes.
And then after a year, I was like, okay, I'll just do special occasions. And now it's like usually just a few times a year. I've brought Joel there. He went with me and when we first started
Yeah,
dating and he knows it's a sacred place for me. And
absolutely.
um
Joel sounds amazing.
he really is. Yes, he's been great in this whole journey. And okay, going back to there's so much I want to talk to you about. Um, how you pray for widows and work with widows. I think you would be an excellent widow goals leader. So, we
Oh,
have, and we can talk more offline, but how
yeah.
we have groups all over the country. And we have a couple in
Yeah.
Canada. Like just the way that you're talking, like that's what we do is the third Monday of every month I get groups together and we have people all over. And then the other thing I didn't know if you knew was like we've got this retreat coming up.
Yes, I
And
want to sign up for that.
I think, and we'll talk more later, I think you'd be a huge asset to being part of the leadership with that. And
I would love to
we're going to need
participate
prayer
in that.
team and all that stuff. So we'll talk later about that. But I think that you would be an amazing part. We're putting together, leaders right now. There's going to be all kinds of teams, and I could see you as like a prayer team or something like that. And maybe
Yeah,
like sharing your story, or I don't know. So,
that would be an
anyways,
honor.
keep that in your mind. We'll talk more about that. But let's get back to your story a little bit. So, I want to talk
Okay.
more about how did you, because I'm sure we have a lot of people dealing with, how did you deal with the loneliness that you felt? Because you've got like, no kids there, your husband's gone. Like, what helped you?
Um, when you feel completely like abandoned by your husband, like he didn't abandon me, but when he
Right.
was gone, I felt abandoned. I felt alone and I felt untethered to something. And so
Yeah.
God was my
Mm-hmm.
thing, like God's my stronghold. Not stronghold as a bad thing, but as he was
Right.
my stronghold. And every morning I got up, still do this. I get out of my bed and I hit my knees.
Mm.
And I don't know where else to start. Like it's like I'm like this. I'm like, God, I know this is your day, not my day, and I can't even do today. I can't do today. I don't even know how to do today. But I'm going to give you this day because I need you to guide me, and I cannot do it without you. And you're just going to have to walk with me because, I don't want to breathe. I don't want to eat. I don't want to do anything, and I need your help. And then I would read out loud every day, and I still do sometimes, but Psalm 91 is
Mm.
like deep embedded in my soul. And there's a lot of other scriptures I love. There's one in Ecclesiastes. I mean, there's one in Revelation. There's one in Chronicles. There's lots of things that I'll go back and read some of Doug's favorite verses, but mostly Psalm 91 has given me comfort and peace, and prayer has given me comfort and peace. Connecting with other widows has given me comfort and peace. My friends changed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. Some friends kind of fall to the wayside. You make
Yeah.
new friends. I don't
Yep.
understand that. My therapist is like, it happens.
Yep.
You might have your feelings hurt and it's okay, but they sometimes don't know what to do with the third person,
Yeah. Like
I
couple
mean, if you're
friends. Yeah.
hanging out with couples, you're now a third wheel.
Yeah.
And, that kind of just makes sense. So that's how I get through it.
Mm-hmm.
Friends, God,
Yes.
church,
Yep.
community.
Community's
Um,
huge. Yes.
yeah.
Some of my best friends now are widows, like most of them. And
What?
yeah,
Yeah.
because I met, so there's a group of us who are widow goal leaders, and we went to Scottsdale last year, and the five of us just had
Yes.
like the best time. And they're like, we just laughed and had so much fun. And there's just something about like widow friends. And Stacy Campbell Waits, who's been on here like 3 times. So she's one that's widowed twice by the time she was 40.
Oh my heavens,
Yeah,
that's so
she's one of the
hard.
first widows who ever reached out to me. She lives in my area. Now we're really good friends.
Oh, heck
And
yes.
and then we have another friend, Jess, that's widowed, and we hang out. So like my closest friend, I mean, I also have close friends that were before Luke died that are still close friends, but there's just this certain bond that I have with my widow friends. And like,
Absolutely.
that's why I do a little plug for the retreat here, like why I recommend retreats. This is our third one, and why they're so important because there's this deep connection, especially Christian widows. You have like, you're already
Yes.
bonded because you're Christian and you're bonded because you're widowed. And then it's like,
Oh, I
whoa,
know.
you have this total connection. And so there's something, yes, it's great when we have these online friendships, but to be able to meet in
Yes.
person and to really
Yes.
experience, I
I
mean,
want to do
it's
that. I want to do
amazing.
that.
It's
I
going
want
to
to do
be
that.
so great. And we
Yes.
have a great worship leader lined up, and just so excited about that. But anyways, like getting off on this subject again. But so I love hearing what helped you, because that's what people want to know, like, how do I get out of this? And it's you, there's no way like around grief. Can't go around it, can't go over it, can't go under it, got to go through it. We
No, you
to
can't.
go.
You have to go
But
through it.
to know that it's going to get better, like I knew some widowed friends before I was widowed, and I called every one of them, like, please tell me it gets better. Like,
Yeah,
can't live here forever, and
I
it
know.
it does get better. But okay, so I used to always say, I used to like do all these like TikToks and all these things, like it gets better. And then I realized, well, after going through grief recovery, it doesn't actually get better for everyone. It's what you do at the time. So I was like,
Hmm.
why are these people saying they're 10 years in and they're still worse off than I am? Like, I don't get this. It's because it's what you do with the time, and so you've got to
Yeah.
put the work in. You've got to read the books, do the counseling, like all the things. You've got to like
Hmm.
pour into yourself and able to move forward. So, what do you think has been one of the most challenging things about being widowed?
Oh, challenging. Well, he had a private practice, and so I
Mm.
had to help make sure all of his patients were moved
Oh,
over to
wow.
another doctor. I had to get rid of his files the right way and have them all
Mm.
shredded, which was
Right.
crazy, crazy. Like 4 filing cabinets full of
Wow.
patients' information
Right.
he'd had for years. And of course, of HIPAA and all that, I did it the right way, and
Yeah.
I honored him through
Yep.
that. And selling his
Oh.
dream home.
Mm.
We did talk about that before he died. He said, if I die, you'll want to get a smaller house and it's manageable
Yeah.
and the kids will be gone, so you won't want to be by yourself. Oh,
Right.
let me plug in my computer
Okay.
real quick.
Um,
Okay. So, for selling the house was difficult. Buying another house was hard.
oh yeah, I did that.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you got to put your big girl pants on,
Got to learn a lot. Yeah.
You learn a lot.
But it's empowering too. Like I went from not even paying bills to learning how to sell my house and buy a house. I was like, whoa, that's cool. I can do it. Like we can do anything, really.
We can do anything. Then I sold a car and bought a car. Like I traded a
Yeah.
car, bought a car, you know, all those
All
things.
those things. Yep.
I've traveled a lot, like a whole lot.
That's great.
And that's been kind of scary, but then it's like when you come home from a huge trip, you're like, I did that. I really did that.
Yes. Um,
um, that's one of the other things I think's been like a challenge, but
yes. So we didn't talk about this before, but I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on dating again? Have you done it?
I've dated, I've done dating sites. I'm very social
Hmm.
and I like to be with people. I don't
Yeah.
want to be alone. I have learned to go to the movies by myself.
Mm.
It's not so bad. I just went to Superman by myself,
Oh,
and because Clark was like so busy getting ready to finish his dissertation, and I said, Clark, I want to go to see Superman because we call him Superman since his name is Clark.
Clark, that's cute.
And he's like, Mom, you can do it. You can go by yourself. And I went and I called him and I said, I did it. I went by myself. It wasn't
Oh,
so bad. And so I've tried dating the websites. I've tried every one, I think. I mean, seriously, Hinge, Christian Mingle,
hmm.
just all the
All of
ones
them.
that are out there. I've gone on dates and I contacted a boyfriend from high school.
Hmm.
He wasn't married at the time, or he hadn't gotten married, and we dated for a while. He proposed to me,
Oh,
and
wow.
I thought he would be the one, and I realized I was just he was a great friend.
Yeah.
It was a great transition. It was what God had allowed to happen for the time to get me through a tough time. And it was not, I don't look at it as a mistake, but I do look at it as what was necessary for the time to have someone be supportive, someone I wasn't afraid of because he's always been good to me. And I knew him, he was safe. But I also realized I didn't want to marry him. And so we still kind of communicate and keep up, but I feel bad about it now because I'm like, he would have married me. I
Hmm.
probably broke his heart pretty bad. Maybe I'm guessing. I feel bad I've actually apologized so much profusely. And I dated another person. We got kind of serious. I just know that I'll know when I know,
Yep. Yeah.
and I don't know.
Yeah.
So until I know, I'm not going to, and I'm also not going to go on any more dating sites
Yeah.
because I feel as though God knows exactly where I am.
Yes.
He knows how to find me, and he knows that those dating sites they work for a lot of people. They work for Christian women. They work for a
Hmm.
lot of people. They didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And I just, I know that God sees me. He knows me. He knows my heart's desire. I don't think he'll disappoint. I know he won't disappoint me because I know that he's got someone in store for me. I'm not afraid of that. I also think that Doug was pretty great.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll have to work pretty hard at not comparing, as which
Hmm.
I've tried to do. But he was pretty great. He was pretty awesome. And so yeah, I'm open to that.
Yeah.
I
That's good.
just
But
I'm
it
not.
seems like you're at peace with where you're at.
Yeah, I know God has got me where he wants me. I don't love it, but I don't not enjoy life because of it. And I do have a love of my life that's 2 years old.
Aw.
So my son Christian is married to Amanda, and I have a 2-year-old grandson named Henry.
So
He
cute.
was born one day before our wedding anniversary on
Aw.
December 15th. So he'll be turning 3 this December, and we play and play and play, and we
I
get in the
love it.
floor, and we just, yeah, he's the best and makes me so happy. And yeah, I don't know, changed my life.
Yes. Yeah, I can tell you. You kind of have that same smile when you talked about meeting Doug, now that you're
Yeah.
talking about Henry. That's so sweet. So you
Yeah,
love
Doug,
being a
I'm so
grandma?
sad he can't be here for it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. He said when he got cancer, he said, I worry about dying before I become a grandfather. And I said, oh, that's not going to happen. And he said, well, I just don't want to be the grandparent talked about at the dinner table.
Mm. You know,
And and he is now the
yeah.
grandparent talked about at the dinner table. Um,
We had a similar conversation. Luke one day was crying right before he died, and he's like, "I'm never going to meet our grandkids." And I was like he was thinking of those things,
yeah, they're yeah.
and I have those conversations with my kids. They're far away. None of them even have relationships. But Haley was like, "Well, what happens when I have kids? Do they call Joel grandpa, or they're my dad?" And I'm like, "Well, I think you would. It's up to you, but you could tell them about their grandpa in heaven, and then yeah, I would hope that they would just call Joel grandpa because they don't know it's not like a step grandpa. But anyways, we have
Yeah.
conversations about all of that. So I've heard there's some grief. I'm sure I'll have grief when you become a grandparent because you're like,
Yes.
I wish he was here to see this, like the
I
best thing ever.
know. I know. He would be the best ever.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think those moments. I had a really like hard grief moment this summer. So Luke's niece was getting married, who's my niece. I've known her since she was born. She's like 19, no, 20,
It,
21,
it's
21.
your niece. Yeah.
Yeah.
Together. Yeah.
So, anyways, when we went to her, so Joel was invited too. So we went to Luke's family. It was the first time I've been around all the family since he died, like everybody. And it was,
Wow.
wow,
That's a
it
lot.
it was a really, first of all, um, one of Luke's nieces has a son who looks just like Luke. Like I'd met him once when he was a
No
baby, and he's
way.
like 5 or 6 now. And I was like, I started
Oh, look
crying immediately when I saw him. And Joel's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "He just looks like Luke." And then it was just like, it was just a
at
lot
Oh,
that day. Like, whoa. And it was like, Luke should be here,
I
to see his
know.
niece get married. And just like, that was hard. I think those moments can just hit you out of nowhere. Like, I was not
Yes.
expecting grief. And
No, I
and Joel was
know.
so great, like meeting everybody, and like that's got to be hard for him stepping into like he's in with Luke's family with me, and it was,
Mm-hmm.
just anyways, those grief moments can.
I see that. When you talk about that, Michelle, it's funny. We've not had any of our nieces or nephews get married yet.
Mm, interesting. Yeah.
So it will, I don't know. I'll have to see how I feel when I cross that bridge.
Yeah, yeah, and I've got some more, well, on my side, but they were his too. Like two of my nieces just got engaged. One's getting married in January, one in March. So that's exciting.
Wow.
But any kind of weddings, actually, even though I'm married again, like they bring me a little bit of grief.
They
Um,
do. I
just
know.
remembering my wedding with Luke. Like
I
it's just
know.
it can
I
bring you
know.
right back there. And then just random things will hit me, like seeing an older couple walking, and I'm like,
Oh, the
that's,
older couple thing
yeah,
stings.
yeah. Even though I am with Joel, like I still think about that. Like, especially anything that has to do with like family. And Joel has grief too, because his is a broken family in a different way. He's not widowed, he's divorced, but theirs is a broken family. So anything about
Oh, it would be.
family is hard for both of us because neither of us have our families intact, though we're completely happy with each other. We don't
Right.
have the same family unit that we used to. And so there's
I
grief with
get
that.
that.
And
Yes.
here's another thing that
Oh,
just happened. Peyton, my 17-year-old, was blessed to get to go on this trip. A friend, they paid for him to go to Lake Tahoe with them, and they had this
I
amazing.
love Lake Tahoe.
Yes, he had a great time. But he came back and he
Yes.
said, I'm having some grief, and I'm glad he's able to talk about it. I'm like, what about? And he's like, seeing my friend with his dad, seeing their relationship. And I wish I
Yeah.
was. And then like a funny thing, he's like, and he's really into like weightlifting now. He keeps asking me, like, do you know how much daddy could bench? I'm like, no. He's like having
That's
grief
so
about it.
cute.
It's like, I really
I
want to know. I'm
love
like,
it.
I could maybe ask a friend, like maybe somebody. I didn't write it down. I wish I would have. And he's
I
like, I really
know.
wish that he could like lift weights with me. I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
that would bring grief.
I know. So it's good though that he talks about it. I've taught them to talk about their grief. Like, don't keep it inside. I'm like, you've got to feel it, like, feel it, but we can't stay
Yeah.
stuck there. But yeah,
Don't stay there.
it's interesting the things that can bring grief. And like you
Yeah.
can be in a room and be transported all of a sudden, like no one has any idea, but like you saw something, you smelled something, you like whatever,
A
and
smell.
you're a
Yeah,
smell and you're in a completely different space. Like that happened
you
recently. I don't
are.
remember what it was, but it was something and I was like, whoa. Or I have dreams about Luke and things that just I'm like, whoa, like it just brings you back. So
It
anyways,
does.
those grief
It does.
moments are
Yeah.
hard, but it's part of life, and we get through
Yeah.
it. It's like it hurts, but it's not as deep or as long as it used to be. Like
Yeah.
it's still there, but I don't live in it. And I think that's the people because, on the Widow Too Soon page where we have over 13,000 people, you see all kinds of people.
Wow.
And we've had to ask some to leave because it's just negativity or just stop them from posting all the negative stuff where they're
Yeah.
stuck in this place. Like this one lady kept saying, don't ever tell me to how dare you? It was on one of my posts. How dare you talk to me like that? I don't want to rebuild. I'm 60 years old. I'm too old, blah, 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 like all of this stuff. And like
Oh
people get
no, that's so
stuck.
sad.
Yeah, they get stuck in their stuff and like we all have been through pain. We've all been through hurt. Well, I think
Yeah.
the biggest difference sometimes is Jesus, obviously, of people who don't have him. Like, I don't know what I'd be like. I'd be a mess.
Hello.
So, right?
Yeah.
So, that's something. And then it's like actually working through things. I got certified in grief recovery and I've taken like 50 people through it now. And the biggest thing that I've learned is like, you have to go through it. You cannot
Yeah.
skip it. Like, and that's what I've
No.
taught my kids, like feel it, but don't stay stuck there. But we've got to feel it. And like,
Yeah, when you say that, the grief when I was dating someone after that was from high school, it delayed my grief.
that's interesting.
Um, yeah, so when I broke up with him, I was back at grief, like the
Yeah.
worst of it. The
And
the like insurmountable feeling because I wasn't being distracted by him anymore.
yeah. And I actually had an
Just
experience like that, but I actually felt worse. Like if my husband hadn't died, I wouldn't be dating again. So I wouldn't be hurt again. I wouldn't have all these things. And it was like,
the blame is there. You want to blame the fact, like, I'm in this position because he died and I didn't ask to be in this position and
right.
I don't want to date people and I don't want to put myself out there.
hmm You
Yeah.
want to know another pet peeve? And this is the first time it's ever happened to me. It was like a couple days ago, a friend of a friend, and she said it without thinking, and then kind of took it back. She's like, "Oh yeah, I met you and your ex-husband," and she's like, "I mean,
Oh,
past
whoa.
past husband," and I was like, I gave her the benefit of whatever. She caught it right away, but
She
like.
did.
I've
Yeah, that's
never had
good.
someone say Luke was my ex ever, and it felt
Yeah.
weird. I was like, no, he was
No.
not my ex. Like that would be totally different. But
It
you
would
know
be so
what? She didn't mean
different.
to. It's fine. But
Yeah. I can see where that might happen because he's in the past and
right. And I was there with Joel at this concert, so maybe
oh
she thought,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's all good. She
I'm
didn't
so
mean to.
glad God gave you Joel. I really am.
Thank you. Me too. Like
That's a great, great find for sure.
oh yeah. Like I wouldn't probably still be doing like I would have done the podcast a few years, but I would have had to get back to like work that pays and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. But because he supports us financially, I'm able to do these things that I love and I feel called to do.
I'm
And
so glad.
yeah,
Yes.
and like I'm like, you're a part of this. He's like, actually, because I tell him all the people I talk to, all the people all over the world. And he's like, because he was a missionary in Brazil for 7 years. He's like, I actually feel like I'm affecting more people because of you than I did there. Like we're more of
What?
missionaries. And I'm like, yeah, we are.
Yes.
We are more of
It's,
missionaries now. Like to be
what?
able
That's
to,
crazy.
have people literally all over the world who are listening and reaching out and
But losing a spouse touches everyone. I
oh yeah.
mean, eventually, you're going to lose your spouse. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, either you go or they go.
Right.
And, or you watch your parents go through that. It's just
Yes.
so
It's
crazy.
really, really hard. But
I do
anyway,
have a
yes,
thing I would like to share with you.
please share.
Okay, so way out there, outside of the realm of what Andrea would ever do. My son, when he was getting he was doing an internship in Springfield, Missouri. I went to visit him, and he's like, "Mom, we're gonna get a tattoo." And I said, "Oh,
Oh,
I don't get tattoos." we talked about your whole life that Dad said nobody gets a tattoo while they're on the payroll.
Oh,
And
funny.
yeah, and he goes, "Oh, well, but we're gonna get one." And I'm like, "Oh my word, are you serious?" And I said, "Okay, I'll think about it." And so he said, "But if you get one with me, you need to put some good serious thought into what you're getting."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay," and that makes sense. I mean, because you don't want to just randomly put something on you. And then you have to live with it the rest of your life. And so I did. I got a tattoo, and it's on my ankle, on my left
Yes. And what does it
ankle, on the
say?
outside. It is when we got married in December, we had real holly berries, and
Mm,
the holly and the berries on the top of the wedding cake, on the cakes, as
yeah.
they went up. And his birthday's December. Doug is.
Mm.
It's New Year's Eve, and
Aw.
Henry's birthday was in December. And I'm like, well, we got two birthdays in December. Our wedding's in December. We had holly berries on the cake. The flower, one of the flowers for December birth month is holly berries. So I got holly on my ankle, and it's
Mm.
small, and it's actually very pretty. It's kind of delicate looking on my ankle, and when I work out at the gym, you can see it. But
Oh,
it's
cute.
not overdone. It's not tasteless. This girl
Right.
named Faith did it for me. It hurt like the Dickens, and
Uh-huh. That's
but I
so
still
cool.
love it, and I have no regret for
That's
it.
awesome.
It's
I
just
love it.
so unlike me. Yeah, I told my mom, and she's like I could see the look on her face. There was like no words. Like she was just so, I could tell she was so disappointed in me, and I'm like, you know, that's
Yeah. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna
just
do.
that's
Yes.
what we did.
Yes. And I wanted to talk a minute about what you talked about earlier, this book, Beautiful
Yes,
Catastrophe.
yes,
Thank you for sending it
yes.
to me. I've just read a little bit. I'm
You're
looking forward
welcome.
to reading all of it. So can you tell, I want to put a link so people could purchase this if they're interested. Can you tell
Thank
everybody
you.
what this is about? Like a little
Beautiful
bit more.
Catastrophe is just a book that's Doug felt God leading him to write about his cancer journey and his faith in Christ, his support of his family and friends.
Mm,
He just wanted to document God's faithfulness to him. And the beautiful thing about it is it was written as though I hate to say it, but as though he lived, because
mm,
he lived, and then he died after the book came
right.
out. So,
But I
but it
think
was
it's,
just, it's a love story about
yeah,
how he loves Jesus, how he loves his
love
family, how
it.
he loves me. It's almost like a love story about me. And I'm so humbled by it.
What
And
a
Haley,
gift.
yes. And Haley wrote a part of it in the
Oh,
back. Um, so that was really special. She had written something about her dad in college, and it was part of a writing assignment. And so she kind of used that, but then changed it up for the book. And she said, "Daddy, can I add to the book?" And he said, "Yes, please do." And
mm,
so her thing is in the back, and it's just a great love story. And I'm glad he did it, because it kind of gives us, he left behind a piece of him
that's
for all of
amazing.
us. And Henry can read it someday. And,
Yeah,
any
exactly.
grandchild we have in the future can read it. And, I mean, we're here for just a moment in time. And it's just a neat way for him to leave a fingerprint on the planet. And as a psychologist, he took great pride in writing it. So
Well, I'm
he
very
would have written
excited.
more. He had a list of books he was writing, and
Yes, that's
he didn't get to write.
beautiful.
But
But I think
yeah,
that's amazing to have something your husband wrote that's like out there for
I'm so
everybody and
grateful.
his
I'm
story and
The name of it cracks me up, because a friend recently said to me, "You realize the name of the book is Beautiful Catastrophe?" And she said, "That's all you are. You're just you."
you're a beautiful catastrophe.
And I'm like, "Oh, I kind of am that living, breathing, beautiful catastrophe that still walks the planet."
Yes. No, I love this. This is amazing. Well, this has been
Yeah.
so great getting to hear your story and
Thank you
I
for
know it's
letting me.
gonna, oh yeah, I know it's gonna inspire tons of people. So would you be okay if I closed in prayer for you?
Yes, please.
Okay. dear God, I just thank you so much for Andrea and her willing heart to be here. I just pray blessings over her and her kids and her grandson, God, that you will continue to show up for them as I know you've done. Continue to give them peace in those times when they're missing Doug, that you will just continue to just overwhelm them with peace, a peace that passes all understanding. I pray that this
Yes.
podcast goes out to help so many people who see that, you know, how you have helped Andrea through this, and so they can be helped as well, and that you just comfort them. I pray for every listener today that they will just come to know you in a deeper way and come to know you if they don't know you already, and that you will just go into those broken cracks of their heart, God, and heal them, God. We pray for that. I pray for joy, that
Yes.
they find joy today. I pray for specifically that somebody reaches out to them and just says, I'm thinking about you, God. I mean, God, that they will have a friend say that to them, and that they will just, they'll see
Yes.
you in different ways, that they'll just know that you're real and that know that they can get through this. And I just thank you for all you've done. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Well, if you like this podcast, give it a little being 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen. Of course, join our Widow Too Soon community. And of course, I got to put another plug for the retreat. I didn't even say the dates, but it's January 22nd through 25th in the Dallas,
Yay.
Texas area. It's going to be 3 nights, and we did our best to keep it really affordable, which I'm like, I can't believe that their prices are so low. So if you are like, I don't want a roommate. Okay, well, $650 for 3 nights, which is still awesome with 8 meals. And then if you're like, hey, I don't care, I want to be there, $450, and you can share a room and have 3 nights, and it's a beautiful camp out near Dallas. And I'm going to create a Facebook page for everyone who's registered to find other people. So if you're like, I'm landing at this time, are you landing? We can take an Uber together. And for people just to connect beforehand. So it's going to be an amazing time with all kinds of speakers. I'm lining them up right now. Several of them are podcast guests who are going to come speak. And also we're going to have worship time, prayer time. I'm working on something fun. So my first retreat, we had line dancing. And I am like, we're in Texas. We should definitely line dance. So
Yes.
it just came to me yesterday. I think I was like in church. I was like, I don't know, randomly it came to me. I'm like, we should have line dancing at our next retreat. So it's Texas. I'm sure I can find an instructor to come out to us and do line dance. So like last time, there's some, people who maybe like couldn't participate or didn't want to. They just watched and laughed and had a great time. I just thought it would be fun because like we could dress up kind of country, and have this
Yes,
whole
you
like
can.
country. I mean, we're in Texas. I think we have
The
to.
hat.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
hat, the boots, the whole thing, and we could have somebody come out and like do line dances with us. So anyways, the point is it's going to be a great time. We do have limited spots, so make sure that if you haven't registered, the link is in the description. Please do that. If you have an issue with like you want to come but you can't pay, reach out to me, Michelle@widowgoals.org. We will work something out. I have a couple scholarships available, and we're going to start asking for sponsors too. So there shouldn't be any reason any widow does not get to come to this.
No.
Because I want all widows there. Sorry, men, this is only for women. I wish that we could do that, but it's special. Like the podcast is for everybody. I know we have men listening, but this is like there's something different. You throw a man in the mix with widows that like makes everything weird. So, okay, that sounded weird. I don't mean to make you know what I'm saying. Like there's just something
Absolutely.
especially about a group of women, and then if you're like doing a camp thing, you just want to be yourself and not have to worry about men. So. Not that I don't, you guys, you know what I'm saying if you're listening and you're a man. I have lots of good widowed guy friends. So, anyways, thanks for listening today. And Andrea, thanks for being here. And we will see you all next time. Bye.